James Bond 007 From Russia With Love is a third-person shooter that was developed by EA Redwood Shores, published by Electronic Arts and released on the PlayStation 2, Xbox and Gamecube in November of 2005. Critically, the game was received fairly mixed but favourable, and in terms of commercial success, it was actually one of the worst selling Bond games, selling only 800,000 copies. From Russia With Love is based on the book and the movie of the same name, but instead of being just a straight up recreation of the movie, it is more of a compilation of characters and gadgets from the Sean Connery era. The plot follows similar lines to the movie, with Bond travelling across the globe, battling it out with the evil organisation known as Spectre. However, due to some strange legal reasons at the time of development, Spectre is renamed to Octopus and some of the villains are switched around too. Octopus are planning to steal some Soviet encoding machine. A female Soviet agent gets in touch with MI6 with the hope of defecting and handing the machine over to the good guys, and all of it seems a bit shady and you don't really know who to trust. Is the story interesting? Sort of, although it is understandably predictable being that it's based on a popular movie from the 60s. The plot is a little strange due to certain elements being jumbled around for legal reasons and to add a little more action into the game, but I'm not really complaining. So what is it like to play? Well, From Russia With Love is a game that has a shootout with a helicopter indoors. Do I really need to say anything else? If you're looking for a little more of an in-depth description, the phrase running and gunning could not be more suitable for this one. You'll spend most of your time running around environments and getting some very good use out of the incredibly generous auto-aim. Simply hold down L1 and you'll lock onto the nearest enemy, and then you'll just unload your ammo until everybody hits the floor. This isn't a bad thing at all. In fact, I'm quite glad they chose to make the game this way, as it means you're always on the move, making the action as light-hearted as it should be considering the movie that it's based on. Running and gunning isn't the only thing that James Bond has to offer. You'll also be given the opportunity to take the sneaky approach with your silenced pistol and takedowns, and while you could try to make it through certain areas without being detected, if you're spotted, there's no sense of failure. Instead, you just get stuck into a fun shootout. On top of this, sandwiched in between these levels are moments of racing around in an Aston Martin, along with some pretty darn impressive set pieces, such as the jetpacks that feature in the opening mission. What's interesting about this Bond game in comparison to the numerous annual titles released previously is the elements of customization that carry from mission to mission. Most Bond games were just straightforward shooters of getting from A to B. However, From Russia With Love will see you build quite the large inventory full of gadgets, weapons and outfits, which you can change into at will. As you progress, you'll collect intel, which allows you to make upgrades such as stronger body armor and larger ammo capacity on your weapons. These are small additions, but giving the player some control on the weapons and gadgets they want to develop is something that goes a long way. While we're on the subject of gadgets, as you'd expect, Bond has them in abundance. Laser watches, Q-copters, briefcase turrets and sonic cufflinks all make an appearance and are used to decent effect for some light puzzle solving that break up the action. From Russia With Love is definitely not a challenging game. There's actually an argument to be made that it's a bit too easy, but then again I suppose that depends on what you're looking for in a game, as at every turn it seems like the developer wanted you to have explosive fun with minimal difficulty. Unsurprisingly, for a game released at the very end of a generation, this game presents itself very well and doesn't look like a game that has aged terribly over the past 13 years. It's hard to even think of any real visual flaws, as I get the impression that the developers really went the extra mile to add plenty of little touches, such as subtle facial animations, or even just the way Bond's suit jacket flaps a little when firing a powerful weapon. On paper this all sounds quite mundane, but in action it really brings everything to life a little bit more. Obviously, one of the most unique features of this 007 game is the recreation of a younger Sean Connery, and EA has done a great job with this along with the other characters from the film that feature in the game. Environments don't have a ton of depth and character, but whether indoors or outdoors, there's no shoddy backgrounds or flat or stretched textures, and they do feature some moments of impressive lighting and explosive effects. Adding to the authenticity of all of this is the voice acting from Connery, and a cast of voice actors providing likenesses for characters such as M, Q and Moneypenny. Everyone does a good job of portraying the characters that were on the big screen so many years ago, and none of the voices seem massively out of place, even when delivering the campy dialogue you've come to expect.
Good morning, 007.
Oh, good morning, Q. How have you been? Busy inventing things?
Not as busy as you've been destroying them. Follow me, 007, and try not to break anything.
The score was also composed in part by the original creator of the James Bond theme, and the music fits in nicely with the action on screen. James Bond 007 from Russia with Love is a game that I have very little complaints about. It doesn't reinvent the wheel in terms of third-person shooters, and in all honesty it only innovates on the 007 video game formula in a few ways. Nevertheless, upgradable and customizable elements are a welcome addition. The action on screen and set pieces are a lot of fun to take part in, and although it doesn't challenge you to really stay on your toes or think outside of the box at any point, its simplicity is what makes it so enjoyable and arguably one of the best Bond games ever made.